So the dollar has hit around the 70-cent mark, somewhere at 78, high 70s. And we're wondering what this means for personal finances. So we brought in Rabina Ahmed-Haq. I got it right. You have a fabulous name.
Oh, thank you.
You're a personal finance expert. So we want to find out what this really means for Canadians. So first off, let's start with the pros.
Let's start with the good news.
Let's start with the good news, yeah.
Well, the pros, of course, are that, we can expect tourism to have an uptick. So, Americans, thinking, hey, should I take a trip to Canada? This would be a good time because it's a little bit cheaper for them. Hotels will cost less for them. It'll be cheaper for them to rent a car. Everything will be, at a 20% discount, so to speak, right? Also, we can expect that our manufacturing sector is going to see an uptick because it will be cheaper for the U.S., which is our biggest trading partner. So, we can expect that they might want to buy bigger orders, more, longer time, because they're thinking it's a little bit cheaper right now. Let's get the orders in. And then that would translate possibly to more jobs. Because even if you're a small business owner and you make, woolly hats, if you're selling a few more woolly hats, you might think maybe I'll hire a part-time employee, maybe I'll hire a full-time employee. Depending on what demand is, you might be able to hire someone to help out your business. So there are some pros to our lower loonie that are actually overall better for the economy.
So more travelers coming to Canada, but what if you wanted to go somewhere else as a Canadian?
Yes, and I think for the longest time, especially that cross-border shopping has been super attractive because the prices in the U.S. are lower. The same pair of sneakers costs less in the U.S. So if you're paying dollar for dollar the same down there, it's been very attractive to go down. But now with our lower dollar, it doesn't make as much sense, right? Why would I pay about 20% more for the same product a year ago that I was getting at, the Canadian dollar par? So definitely if you're thinking of a U.S. holiday, this might be the year you might want to travel in Canada because it's going to be a little bit cheaper for you. Yeah. Staycation or road trip or something that's more, going to keep it more domestic. You're probably going to save a little bit of money. But even getting on a flight, even if you're flying within Canada, a lot of those operating costs are based in U.S. dollars. So whether it's fuel or the supplies, they're based in U.S. dollars. So a Canadian airline might have to charge you a little bit more because it's costing them a little bit more to just run their business.
However, there are those cheaper oil prices. Would that bring it down?
Well, this is
it's like kind of balancing, right?
Absolutely. And one of the ironies of this entire story is that because oil prices are lower, and we saw airlines stick in a fuel charge about a year ago saying, well, it's more expensive for us to take you down to the Caribbean, so we've got to charge you a fuel surcharge. They're not taking that away. Many airlines have been asked. American Airlines CEO actually was asked, are you going to bring ticket prices down? I know that's specifically for the States. And he responded saying, no, we want to make sure that we can deliver the same customer experience. So that was his response, basically politely saying, no. We're not going to lower our prices for you.
That's ridiculous.
It is ridiculous. And as a consumer, you think, well, I'm paying less to fill up my car, so you're paying less to fill up your plane. Give me a break here. But they're thinking, we always base our prices on $100 a barrel, just so we can deal with, the moving price of oil. But I'm sure if oil went up 50% rather than down 50%, we'd be hearing a lot different stories from the airline industry.
Yeah, maybe that's some stories we should continue to follow. But what about the impact on food prices? Are we going to see something on that as well with the lower dollar?
Well, with the perishable items, so a strawberry growing in California right now is just going to cost a little bit more to bring over the border. Now, it is a little bit less because they're trucked across often, so the gas prices are a little bit less, so that it doesn't cost that company that much to bring it all the way across the U.S. and then onto store shelves in Canada. But it's still more expensive for us to buy it, and they're not necessarily going day by day. They've also set their prices, sort of 6 months in advance, so we might be paying a little bit more because they set their prices 3 months ago, and that's what we have to pay for those strawberries. So it just costs a little bit more for us to bring, especially those perishable items home.
So when you're shopping, what should you look for then?
Well, I mean, I don't think that people need to change, what they look for. I think that we need to just employ some common sense, you know? So I always say to people, when you go to the grocery store, go with a list. There's evidence that proves that we spend 23% less when we shop with a list. So just do these things that will just make you save money. Like, get back to basics. This is a good time to sort of take stock in all the bad habits that we might have gained because we're so used to that, that loonie being at par or other things being cheaper. Sort of get back to that, and you will save overall more money. I wouldn't say stop buying fresh fruits and vegetables. That wouldn't be a very good piece of advice.
It's like you're talking to me, though, Rabina. Is there any upside to the downside? What if you have U.S. dollars or U.S. stocks?
Well, for anyone who has U.S. dollars right now is actually doing very well. So a lot of people might have bought U.S. dollars when it was at par, thinking, well, maybe I'll exchange it back when the loonie becomes weaker. Now, you might be thinking, okay, is this the time? Or maybe you want to wait for the next Bank of Canada rate announcement, because if they cut again, the loonie will drop even further. But if you are sort of, if you were sort of playing that game where you wanted to exchange, this might be a good time if you feel that this is as low as it's going to go. And if you own U.S. stocks, I mean, it also depends on what the company is doing that you own. But generally speaking, that stock is worth more for you because it's priced in U.S. dollars.
Okay, one final question. How low do you think it will go?
Well, I mean, this is the magic question, right?
So come on, tell me.
That means some economists are saying as low as 75 cents, which isn't very far from where we are right now. So it's about 78, 79 cents. So, we could go to that point. And I also feel that, we shouldn't really be looking at how low it can go. We should just be looking at what is the market we're in right now and how can I save the most amount of money in the information that I already have. I think some people sort of try too much to be a speculator, try to look too far in advance. Just deal with what you know and try to save money in the environment that you already know exists.
And you brought us a lot of great information. Thanks for the latest, Rubina. I appreciate it.
Thanks, Hannah.
Rubina Ahmed-Haq is a personal finance expert. Thanks so much.
Thank you.